Hey guys, welcome back to Guy in His Garage. My name's Cam. Today we're going to be focusing on getting all of our receptacle boxes, our receptacles put in and all wired into our panel. So you can probably tell from the last video, I got the rest of our lights up. Unfortunately, I thought 8 was going to be enough. Now the lighting from here back to the garage door, pretty solid. But unfortunately, I probably could use 2 more so that I get more direct light over here on the workbench. So here in the near future, I'll get those ordered and we'll get those put up. But again, today's focus is getting all of our receptacle boxes nailed in, wired, and hooked up. So what I'll go ahead and do is I'll put you guys in a time lapse. I'll hammer in, I've already gone and pre-marked where I want to put all my boxes. I'll hammer them all in and then I'll bring you guys back. Let's get into it. Okay guys, just like that, all of our receptacle boxes are in. There's a total of 9. 2 of them, one in the front left corner, one in the back right hand corner, will be 20 amp receptacles. Reason being, one, my yellow toolbox here actually has a power strip built into it, so I can plug in all my chargers or extension cords or tools, but it requires a 20 amp receptacle. So that'll fix that problem, which will actually be nice. I've never had that set up before, so it'll actually be nice to have it. I also put another one pretty close in that corner because our air compressor is over in that corner, so it'll be able to be plugged in right there. We won't have to worry about running an extension cord to it or anything like that. But the other 20 amp is going to go in the front left hand corner so that if I have to ever weld something and I can't get it in the garage, I can at least back it up close to the door, plug the welder in right there, and be able to work right out in front of the garage. So that way there we're not trying to run an extension cord off the 20 amp and messing with all that kind of stuff. So what we'll do next is we'll take our regular drill with our 3/4 inch spade bit and we'll drill holes through all of our studs from one receptacle to the next one, all the way back to the panel for our wires. And we'll do the same thing along this back wall and that wall. The only thing is I'm going to run the 2 20 amp outlets on their own circuit. Not individual circuits, but those 2 will be the only ones that are tied to each other on that circuit. The other ones will be on their own circuit as well as this wall. This wall will be on its own. All the 15 amps on these 2 walls will be tied into each other on their own circuit breaker. And then the 220 amps will be on their own. I don't see us using the 20 amps at the exact same time, so that's why I don't see an issue with tying them into each other. So let's get into it. Okay, so we got our wire. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to worry about this wall, the back wall, and the right side, or technically the left. If you're looking at the back wall, it's the left, but that's the right. But if you're looking at the garage door, that's the right and that's the left. But tomato, tomato. But we're going to start on the back wall, make our way to the left. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set this on top of the workbench over here and start feeding it through all the holes that I drilled. Now you might have noticed I changed bits from when I went from this wall to that wall. Only reason why I did that is because even though I could probably, I could fit 2 sets of wires inside a 3/4 inch hole, I just wanted to give it a little bit more room so that there's less chance for it to rub and wear the casing on the wire down and cause a short. Because we're actually gonna have 2 wires running because we have the 2 20 amp receptacles. So again, those will be on their own wire, on their own breaker. So that means we're gonna have 2 wires running through this hole. So I switched it up to, I believe, 1 1/8 inch. So it's a little bit bigger. Not super worried about the structural integrity. Again, this is a very common practice. Plus, you might notice this isn't 2x4 framing in this garage. It's actually 2x6. So these studs have plenty of meat left in them to support the weight of the roof. So let's get into it. Well, apparently we have reached that point of the video to where I realize I don't have enough of something that I need to finish said project. So I'm going to make the infamous Home Depot run mid-project and go pick up another 50 feet of wire. Honestly, probably should have gotten a 100-foot roll when I originally got everything for this project. Clearly, I significantly underestimated how much footage of wire we were going to be running. So, to Home Depot. No copyright. I think our windshield's a little frozen, guys. Stand by. Yeet. Good enough. Okay guys, just like that, we are back from Home Depot. Instead of picking up another 50 footer, I decided to just bite the bullet and buy a 100 footer. We're always gonna have projects, so whatever we don't use here, we'll store and use on another one. So we'll finish up getting the wires in, and then I'm probably gonna take a break for lunch, bring you guys back after lunch, and we'll wire in all of our receptacles, put our face plates on it, and we'll call this good. Let's get into it.
Okay guys, I'm not sure what happened to the audio for this portion. For some reason, it didn't record. But all I'm doing here is I'm explaining what we've gotten done, how much of the wire we've used. Unfortunately, on the right side wall, from this last receptacle to the panel, we ended up coming up about 18 inches short. So I had to make another infamous Home Depot run and pick up another 15-foot section of wire. As you can see right there, yeah, about 18 inches short. So went ahead, got that wire, and got that section swapped out and taken care of.
Okay guys, so I have you set up on the workbench. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how I wire up my receptacles. That way there, when we go to actually do our boxes, I can just put you guys in a time lapse. But also, so you guys kind of see what I'm actually doing. I know I said I did this in last week's video. However, when I was going over the footage while editing, I felt it was just way too dark to actually for you guys to see what I was doing and what I was explaining. So I figured I'd take some time right now and go ahead and do it again, but actually do it again with much better lighting so that you guys can see what I'm actually doing and talking about. So let's go ahead and get into that. So first things first, we have to strip this yellow coating off of our wire. So typically I'll just score that yellow casing. Should be then be able to pull it right off. You have this paper coating, peel that back, rip it off of there. You'll see there's 3 wires in here. This one, that's bare copper, that's our ground wire. You have 2 other wires in here. You have a white one, which is your neutral, and you have a black one, that is your hot. So this is the one that'll actually provide power to your receptacles. So I have these fancy wire strippers. Stick them in here. Strip about a little more than a 1/2 inch, maybe closer to 3/4. Strip those ends. What I like to do is I like to take a pair of needle nose and round into a hook-like shape, and honestly, I probably need to strip some more off of these. Not a lot more, but I like to get them into a little hook. Do that to all 3 of them. Just grab it and rotate the plier. Okay, so you notice there's 3 different color screws on your receptacle. The gold is where your actual power will go. The silver is your neutral, your white wire, and this greenish blue screw, that's for your ground. So what I like to do is I actually like to hook my grounds up first. So it just goes in on there like that. Then you tighten it down. So you might notice is this screwdriver looks a little funky. It can't make up its mind whether it's a flat tip or a Phillips. So you'll notice on your electrical receptors, the screws look like a Phillips, but you go to use a standard Phillips screwdriver in here and it doesn't bite really well. You can use a flat tip or a Phillips, but both Milwaukee and Klein tools, I'm sure other brands make them too, make these screwdrivers with these tips that are specifically for pretty much electrical components. A lot of your electrical components have this style screw head. So now that we got our ground on here, we'll go ahead and we will get our neutral put in here, just like that. Tighten it down. And then we'll come over here with our hot, aka our black wire. and get that tightened down. So you're probably asking, how does the top get power if only the bottom set of screws are hooked up? So you'll actually see there's a little tab looking piece on both sides. As long as that tab is there, there's a flow path for the electricity, for the current, to flow through, which provides power to both sides of the receptacle. Now, some places there's code that requires that there's power to one of the two receptacles all the time, and that the other one is wired into a switch. So in a case like that, what you do is you take like a pair of needle nose, you would grab this little tab, wiggle it back and forth until it breaks off. You'd wire one side to be your constant power, and you'd wire the other one up to a switch. That way there, when the switch turns on, it has power. Again, all that would take is breaking off this little tab. If that little tab is there, both the upper and lower will have power. So now that I've shown you guys this, I'm gonna get you guys set up in the time lapse, and I'll go ahead and get all of our receptacles wired in, and then we'll go back over to our panel, get them wired into a breaker. I'll show you guys what I should have done with the wiring inside the panel, because to be honest with you, I'm not too happy with how our two wires going into our panel look right now, but without redoing them completely, we're gonna live with it. It's a garage. I'm not that worried about it. But let's get to it. Oh, before we get into the time lapse, the other thing you can do with receptacles is you can use them as a way to daisy chain. What I mean by that is because you're providing power to the bottom half of this receptacle, if you put a wire and connect it to these upper two, you're now providing power to that wire. So what you probably noticed, like here on the workbench, this is the actual wire coming in from our panel over there. So this will get wired to the bottom side of our receptacle. This wire will get wired to the top of our receptacle, and that wire runs its way down and all the way over to that box right there in the corner. And then again, there's another wire in that box that runs down and over to that box, and so on and so forth. That's how you daisy chain your receptacles. So let's get to it. Nothing like some crisp white Monster. But no, seriously guys, all of our outlets on our back wall and our left wall are now in. So all we have left to do is wire them into the panel. So unfortunately, my Milwaukee light towers are currently being used somewhere else. That somewhere else you guys won't get to see. I probably will only get to see it once or twice. That's for my work outside of YouTube. Not ready to get into that yet. Probably here soon. Unfortunately, we have no option but to tell you guys about it, but we'll get there when we get there. So what I'll probably end up doing is I'm going to cut the power to the panel so that I can work on wiring this up, get it all done, get the power back on, turn the lights back on, and then I'll explain and show you guys what I did. And then we'll test out our outlets and make sure that all of them are good. So let's get into it. Okay guys, so it's been a little while, but everything's done now. Like I showed you guys on the workbench, the wiring of the receptacles, all our receptacles are in. Everything's wired up into our panel. I'll show you guys the panel, and then I'll show you guys how you can test your receptacles. I'm not gonna test every single one of them. I've already done that, just so you know. But I'll show you guys what kind of tool I have to be able to test them. Makes it super easy. I also went ahead and went back to Home Depot again, picked up a 15-foot section of wire to run from this receptacle right here to our panel. So this wall is also done. We also got all of our face plates on. So I'll show you guys the panel and how I ran the wires this time versus last time. I think it looks a lot nicer. Yeah. Okay guys, so I got you over here at the panel so you can see these are our 5 breakers that are actually feeding everything in the garage. This one is what's feeding this wall. This one is our lights. This one's our garage door. I gotta double check, but I believe this is the one that feeds our 15 amp outlets along the back wall and the side wall. And then this upper one is what feeds our 2 20 amp outlets, the one on the back wall and the one in the front left hand corner. So I'll bring you guys in. Okay, and what you can see is I shaped these wires a lot differently than I did these nasty ugly things over here. This is really ugly. This is not how you should do your wiring. You want it to be more like this because this is cleaner. It's easier to get your hands and tools in here without worrying about electrocuting yourself. And it just makes moving things around if you need to a lot easier. So the other thing you'll see is that I got, like I said, our face plates on all of our outlets or receptacles. So this is an outlet tester. It's got a breakdown of what these, if it still works. So it's got a breakdown on this side of what these different lights mean depending on which ones are lit up. So for us, these 2 lights like this, we look at what that means written out here. The center light and the light on the right lit up together means correct wiring. So that tells me that that outlet is good to go. So I'll show you guys one over here on this side of the garage. So this is the one that'll be for our air compressor. Again, middle and right light means good wiring. You might also notice I already have the power cord that goes to my toolbox plugged in, and I have one of my Milwaukee chargers plugged in down here in the power strip that's built into my toolbox, and it's charging our battery. So that tells me that that is good to go. I did test it with the tester before I plugged it in, but that's what that means. So now guys, the entire garage is wired. Okay guys, that's it for this week. I really appreciate those of you that keep coming back and watching the videos. We're getting more and more views each video. It's actually really cool to see that happening. If you are coming back and you're liking this content, please hit that like button. It does a lot for us on the channel. It helps the YouTube algorithm push the videos higher up when you search for things. So it does us a lot of good, and it doesn't cost you guys a penny. So please, if you can, hit that like button. If you think you got some friends that might like it, maybe share it with them and get them to the channel. But again, this is Guy in His Garage. My name's Cam. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. What are you guys still doing here? I'm just trying to clean.